Do you flush the toilet? Oh! Do you touch a doorknob? Oh! Are you one of those folks who sneezes into your hand and doesn't wash? Oh! Then you may be part of the problem. According to the American Society of Microbiology, 97% of females and 92% of males say they wash their hands, but only 75% of females and 58% of males actually wash their hands. Yuck! The question is, do you wash your hands properly? Studies say that you need to wash your hands for about 2 minutes in order to get an effective wash of your hands. You could sing your ABCs, happy birthday, or any variety of things you can find on the internet. Now, when you wash your hands, it's important that you get on your wrists, between your fingers, under your nails, and if you're wearing any jewelry, that you take that jewelry off when you wash your hands. Doing this will help you be healthy, keep your friends healthy, and keep your family healthy. Do this anytime you touch something that could make your hands dirty, you play outside, anytime that you work with raw meat, and anytime that you sneeze or cough into your hands. The following are some interesting statistics that may surprise you about washing your hands. 50% of middle and high school students wash, and of these, only 33% of females and 8% of males use soap. Statistically speaking, there are 229,000 germs per square inch on frequently used faucet handles, 21,000 germs per square inch on work desks, about 400 times more than the average toilet seat. More germs at the kitchen sink than at your toilet, with 1,500 on each square centimeter of hands. Washing your hands prevents spreading germs to food or to another person. Germs are invisible on your hands, and they can make you very sick, as you probably already know. Hands are the most exposed part of the body to germs. Washing your hands regularly can keep a person healthy. A 1996 Worthen research study of 305 school students reported that students who washed their hands 4 times a day had 51% fewer lost days to stomach upset. This has been a public service announcement from your local Fire and Health Department. That was quite the video about washing my hands. Didn't even realize it was that crazy. Washing your hands is important. I mean, I wash my hands when I go to the bathroom. Sometimes I'm good at washing my hands before I eat, but washing your hands is pretty important. You know what? I think we need to do something with this. Okay, here's what I want you to do first. So what I want you to do is I want you to make a list of the things that you touch every day, things that you make contact in. You know, it could be your phone, could be a glass, could be a doorknob, it could be the steering wheel of your car. Just keep track of anything that you make contact with during the day. After you make a list of that, and there's a spot for that on the Google document for the assignment, then you're going to get to the experiment that we're going to do. A couple things to keep in mind when you're making your list. Think about things that you wouldn't necessarily think about touching that you maybe touch other things after doing, like when you're cooking meat. Okay, do you remember to wash your hands every time you touch raw meat? Whenever you're making any kind of food, do you wash your hands before it? Do you wash it anytime you're touching raw food or things like that? Do you wash your hands anytime your hands are looking dirty? Anytime you go outside or you mess around with something with a tool? Do you wash your hands every time you use the toilet? Gentlemen, every time you use the toilet? Okay. Do you wash your hands when you change a diaper? Those of you who maybe have to. I have to remember to wash my hands every time I change Philip's diaper. That's important. Do you wash your hands when you're sick? When you blow your nose? Every time you sneeze into your hand, do you wash your hands? Think about it. What good does coughing into your hand do if you don't wash it off, I'm going to shake hands. It's just like coughing on them, right? Okay. That's why it's also really important to cough into your sleeve. Or I am a fan of coughing into my shirt. Okay, because even coughing into my sleeve is like, well, I touch my sleeve all the time. Maybe not the best either. Okay, but what other common objects do you touch? Okay, and then after you've made that list, then you can move on to the experiment. Now, I'm going to take you upstairs for this because we got to get to our experimenting space. I'm not going to do an experiment in the basement. That's no good. Now I've got a special guest for you today. And it's really important that you are nice to this guest because he might even come back. But don't be a jerk. Nobody likes jerks. He's a good dude. Okay? So be nice to this guest. And maybe he'll be nice to you. Okay? So, here we go. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to be doing an experiment. Now, I brought a super special secret guest here. He is a scientist. Now, this scientist, he is absolutely brilliant. He comes from the town of, I think, Frankfurter or something like that. I don't know. But he's going to show us how to perform the experiment with our bread. Okay, you should have the bread. You should have received it in your bags this week. And you're going to need your bag and your bag, and you're going to need some utensils. He can explain how to do the experiment, though. So, without further ado, here comes my super secret scientist friend. Frank? Frank, are you coming? Oh? Must be having a little trouble getting going. Hello, everybody. I heard that you were requesting a super secret scientist. Well, I fit the bill just perfectly. Here I am. I'm here to do a super secret science project. My name, for those of you who are wondering, is Dr. Frankfurter GEVmenson. You can just call me Dr. GEVmenson. Now, Mr. Anderson and I have been friends. We go way back. But I'm not so sure he might have COVID-19. I'm going to stay over here so I don't get sick. Now, for this particular experiment, normally I would wear my super secret gloves. But I don't need my super secret gloves for this experiment. So I'm going to take them off. Now, what you're going to need for this experiment, you're going to need some water. I'm using my infant's Tylenol syringe for my water. They just need this much water, not very much water. The second thing you're going to need is some household objects. I've got an Xbox controller, a cell phone, a TV remote, my keys, a towel, and a soap dispenser. Those are my household objects, and you don't need to bring them to your space. I just brought them so I can have them in the video. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to find your sandwich. Every one of you should have a piece of bread that came this week. Mr. Anderson told me so. I'm going to take your piece of bread out of the baggie, but don't throw away the baggie, you need the bag, okay? I've got my super secret piece of bread. Now, the next step that you're going to have to do, you're going to take your hands and you're going to get them dirty. I'm going to rub them all over the place. Okay, I'm going to rub on my towel. You'd be surprised how dirty your towel is. Got my towel. I'm going to touch all over my TV remote. Yes, all over that TV remote. There we go. I'm going to touch my keys. My keys are all over the place. You don't even know where the germs come from. They just come from everywhere. Got my keys. Gonna touch my Xbox controller. I don't know how many of you sanitize your Xbox controllers, but I don't do that at all. Nope. Gonna take my cell phone and I'm just gonna rub my hands on it. Rub my hands on my cell phone. I'm gonna rub my hand on the top of the soap dispenser. You don't even think about that, do you? The top of the soap dispenser. All over my hands. The next thing we're going to do... You're taking a long time, Frank.
I know, I'm getting there. Just a minute. Okay. So
So now, what you're going to do is you're going to take your piece of bread. You're going to take your bread and you're just going to grab it and rub it and touch it. Put your hands all over the bread and get it all dirty. Okay? Now, I've got it all over my hands. If you want to just for an extra, just rub your hand on the counter again. On the counter again. Now I got my bread here. I'm going to take my water. Just going to put a little bit of water on my bread. I'm just going to spread it around on the bread. Now I had 5 milliliters of water, but you can have whatever kind of water you need. Now my bread is wet. I'm going to touch it one more time with my hands. And I'm just going to put it back in the bag. Okay? Open your bag. Put your bread back in the bag. Seal it up. Now if you have a marker, you want to label this what day it is. Today is today. I know that, and I'm going to take it out when the experiment is done. But today I'm going to put it in the bag. Every single day now, you have to look at the bag and see how it is. Make sure you read directions. Mr. Anderson will explain the rest of the directions, but make sure you look in the bag. It's very important. Very, very important that you look in the bag. Right? So I'm just going to take my bag, and I'm going to leave it on my counter. And we'll see what happens. Thank you, Mr. Anderson, for having me. Make sure you hand sanitize. Wash your hands. You don't want to have to, you want to get the diseases or COVID-19. You're still cold. Wash your hands. And we'll see you in about a week. About a week, okay? Keep an eye on your bed. We'll see you later. Huh?
Bye, Frank.
Yes, I'll be back in 1 week. 1 week.
Okay, yes, we'll see you then.
See you then.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. He's a little bit crazy, a little bit wonky sometimes. Okay, so like you said, I'm going to finish explaining what you're going to be doing. So once you've got your bread taken care of, you get your whole experiment set up, then what you're going to do is you are just going to write a hypothesis. Now, remember, hypothesis is a guess about what you think is going to happen. Okay? So it could be, I think that my bread is going to be normal. So it's going to be a wet piece of bread in a week. Okay? Could be that you think that your piece of bread is going to dissolve. I mean, it is just cheap white bread from the store. It could be that you think that it's going to be messy. You come up with what your hypothesis is. What do you think is going to happen to the bread? What's it going to look like? Is it going to be the same? Is it going to dry out? What is going to happen to your bread? And then when we're finished, then we'll go over the next part. Okay? So what are you going to do with your bread? Now, then you're going to take daily observations. All right? So at the bottom of your assignment, I've got 4 spots for daily observations. Now, you might want to observe for longer than that. You might want to observe for 6 to 7 days. If it hasn't changed at all after 4 days, you maybe want to observe a little longer. See if it's going to change. Okay, but write up your observations. What does it look like? Does it look the same? Does it look different? Has it dried out a little bit? It's your observation. What has happened to the bread every single day? Okay? After about a week, you're going to write a conclusion. Okay? So your conclusion has to say what actually happened to the bread. Did it stay the same? Is it wet? Is it dry? What color is it? Has it changed colors? What's going on with it? You explain exactly what happened with your bread. Okay? And then at the very end of the assignment, you're going to explain what do you think washing your hands or not washing your hands has to do with this particular experiment. Okay? Would the bread have been different if you had washed your hands before, or if you didn't even touch the bread at all? Okay? And if you really want to, you could take a regular piece of bread, stick it in a baggie, do absolutely nothing with it, and compare the two at the end. That's up to you. Okay? So you're going to be about a week of this assignment, and I'll check back with you in a week to see what my results were. You should be done with it before then. Okay? Have a great week, and we'll see you later.
Oh man, I almost forgot about your fun fact of the day. Today's fun fact of the day for health is that people who enter their home through a door near the kitchen tend to eat 15% more than those who use the front door. Fun fact.